All right, the title of today's webinar, Unleashing and Leveraging Power of AI in Digital Marketing. Are you leveraging AI in your digital marketing, tailored for legal professionals seeking to revolutionize their digital presence? This webinar will highlight AI-powered digital marketing strategies and how to harness AI's full potential to amplify your firm's reach and impact, from targeted advertising to personalized content creation. Unlock the secrets of leveraging AI to effectively attract and engage your ideal clientele. Nalini, I'm making you a co-host so you can turn your video on. Nalini is now in the room with us. We're live. I already welcomed everybody in, just so that you know what you missed. You've got Della Stein, business lawyer, San Jose, California. You've got Rachel Okello out of the UK, an immigration solicitor. You got Michael Romano doing domestic relations and criminal defense in Portland, Oregon. You've got Seth Keventhal, who's a new marketing director for a law firm out of Atlanta, Georgia. Seth, what is your law firm's practice area? So those are the people who told us in chat where they're from and what they're doing. Nalini, are you able to speak and turn your camera on? I just want to make sure that you're...
Yes, you can hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, my camera will not allow me. It's supposed to give me some permissions.
Let's try this again. Try it now.
I am here.
Okay.
And I heard you were introducing all the folks that are on the call as well. So I appreciate that. You were asking a question to Seth out there as well.
Yeah, Seth is in a firm that's doing intellectual property, tax law, and litigation. Awesome. And he's actually their CMO. So we're good to go. So I've already done the intro. I've introed the topic. I've told everybody if they have a question to drop it in the Q&A. I'm going to turn off my camera. I'm going to mute myself and let you run with it. I'll come back on for the Q&A to just host that for you. And,
okay. And you're seeing
yep.
my screen now. It looks good. We're all solid there.
Looks good.
Okay, perfect. So in terms of a little bit of an introduction there, we are really going to dive into AI in digital marketing today. We'll do a little bit of in terms of your local, maybe some bonus stuff on paid ads. I really like to do these presentations in a way that I'm giving value to the folks who are actually here, taking the time out of their day to join, right? So I'm also happy, Moshe, if you want to get questions in real time, I am happy to be interrupted to answer those questions so they don't lose their train of thought throughout. I'm happy to also have you guys put them in the chat and then we can go through them one by one. I can come back to slides and make it all make sense, right? But again, really the things that I like to do are very DIY. I'm going to give you tips in here in this presentation that you can run with. You can have your in-house marketing person kind of run with and say, okay, well, we can open this program and we can get our own account and we can make sure that we are on top of this because they're very simple items, right? AI has such a connotation of, oh my gosh, it's new, it's confusing, I need someone technical to be able to do this, and it's not necessarily true. So hopefully there are a lot of little tidbits that you guys can take away from this that apply to your firms. And again, I'm going to leave time at the end. I might go a little bit fast with the deck, but we promise to share this deck with you so you'll have the source links and you'll have everything that you possibly need to make sure that you can dot your I's, cross your T's, and do some of this stuff yourself. So first and foremost, one of the things I think we don't talk about a lot are just kind of these AI products in the legal industry that are going to help you be way more efficient in your business. And so this is not necessarily a digital marketing piece, but just gonna real quick hot tips, a few products that some of you might be using right now. And if you do, or you attend these items and you leverage them in your firm, for conversation's sake, it'd be awesome if you could say in the chat, yeah, I use that and it has helped my firm. Oh, I used it and maybe it wasn't great for my firm, but here's why. Because the more that other law firm owners, operations folks hear those things, the more they can make those really good informed decisions for their firm. So one thing, if you're really into the AI side of things or new products, new technology to streamline your firm, the ABA Tech Show is something that happens every year in February in Chicago. You can get a ticket just to walk it. And they do almost these little 10-minute TED Talks on new products that are coming out. It is extremely valuable, and especially if you have someone in your firm who handles the tech side of things, right? Or an operations person to just send. this is a very good use of your time and money to just see what's new out there and to see and gauge how well are you keeping up with the Joneses and technology, right? In terms of actual products, some of you who are in here that maybe do personal injury, those demand packages and those demands take time to write, right? And so even up has been around and on the scene for a little bit. None of these programs that I'm going to mention, I'm also going to preface this, disclaimer this, we don't necessarily have, relationships with them. There's no kind of referral fee here. These are just products that we work with about 300 firms at BluShark, use these products, and I've only heard great things about the product itself as well as the customer service. So it's just an idea and something that maybe you might want to look into, but you take with a grain of salt. If it's not something you need, it's not something you need. Some of the cooler things about Even Up is that it's not just saving you time by having AI create these demands, but it's in depth. They're constantly improving their system, and they're able to add ICD codes. They're in the summaries of the providers, things that you might be missing sometimes with dates of treatments. These are all picked up by their AI bot when they create these demands. And they're making sure to check the box with everything that your actual human writer would put into these demands. So this is something to look into if you find that you are the bottleneck in your firm in trying to write these. You're obviously still able to take a human to go through and check everything that AI does for you, right? So Even Up is great for that. Settle It is a newer item that has been an interesting product. I don't see anything else on the market for this, quite honestly, that does this product so well in an automated way. But this is basically giving you all the information you need on your plaintiff when you spend tons of time looking for this data, and then sometimes even get to trial and don't know this information, right? You're missing the fact that they didn't, or they did go to some other doctor and they had this medical record that's missing. And a lot of those things, as you know, will be the difference in a 6-figure or 7-figure verdict, or just like completely crashing all of the prep work you've done for that trial. So really cool to have this product that looks into the background, scrapes everything, and gives you a huge data profile on everything, even before you're trying to request a medical record, right? Esquire Tech is one of the last ones here that I'm going to mention. Esquire Tech is for discovery. So discovery can be a pain, can take a lot of time, from your support staff in your office. Even if you're outsourcing support staff and you're like, oh, it's okay, we're not paying that much for that. This program can truly help with streamlining this process, and hours of time is saved here. It also allows you to do things like one-click objections. It has all of these short custom objections that you can create and get personalized, helps with e-serving the opposing counsel. So there's a wide variety of items that can be done here. That's all I'm going to kind of talk about for just some of those few quick tips on how to maybe streamline your business, your firm with AI. And now we'll dig into more of the digital marketing aspect of AI. So first and foremost, how many people here, I don't know if you guys can maybe just put it in the chat, but how many people here use a company already and are familiar with, with the local 3-pack and your Google business profile and getting reviews? Because this is really the heart of your case. We got Tim said yes. This is really the heart of your digital presence, right? You have to teach Google what you do in order for Google to understand, yeah, they are the right person for this searcher. They are giving a good answer for this searcher. They are qualified to give this answer for the searcher, right? So Google Business Profile is going to be the heart that I'm mentioning here. There are fields that you can fill in about not just your business name and your address, but you can tell Google what services you provide. They get really granular now with, can you create appointments directly from here? What areas beyond your address do you service? Giving little tidbits about the community involvement that you are in your post. All of these elements that you fill in for Google help Google to understand who you are, right? Who you are as a business, how trustworthy are you? If you have one of these profiles and you're not filling things out, you are leaving money on the table, right? You're not just not teaching Google what you're doing, but by not teaching Google what you're doing, not showing, not having visibility, you're truly not reaching audiences that need your help, right? You're doing a disservice to yourself. So this most simple, basic thing you can do is have people go and check and make sure that every field on this Google business profile is filled in. The reason that profile is so important is because it is directly tied to showing in what we call the local 3-pack, which is what you're seeing here. So if you sit on your couch and you say, I need a plumber, I need the best pizza right now, right? I need any kind of thing, I need a nail salon. Google is going to, on your phone, usually when you're searching mobile, show you a couple of options that are nearest to you, and you'll notice that you can see the reviews. You have a call button right there to convert. That's what we call the local 3-pack. This is earned, not given. This is not paid. There are some opportunities for you to somehow land as a paid ad in this 3-pack, but it's very, very, very hard to achieve. You have to spend tons of money with Google to get that spot. So what you want to do is this is going to be earned, right? You want to make sure Google knows everything about you and that consumers are engaging with that profile. They're leaving reviews, they're clicking the direction button, they're clicking buttons on your profile. The more that consumers are engaging with you, the more Google believes you're a real business, right? You have people who are happy with your services. So this is where you're going to get the most of your conversions. When people are searching for your help, they see you in this 3-pack, they can click the call button, they connect to a good intake system and team and process. Boom. If it is a case you want, it's signed, right? This is one of the ways that you can try to get ahead in this situation. Constantly, Google is coming up with new fields or features that you can answer on this profile. And it's almost like a rat race, right? So I suggest if you have somebody in-house and you're not using a company, that you are keeping an eye on the fact that, oh, a new field just popped up. I need to fill it in, right? And I want to say that almost every month or every couple of months, there is either a new field or they've tweaked an older field to ask for more information or more specific information that they need in order to determine, are you the best answer for their searcher? So in this section, I'm going to give you some quick tips on what we've seen in the last maybe 3 to 6 months come out as new opportunities, making sure that you're optimized this way so that if other firms haven't figured it out yet, right, you're the first one to fill in that field or you're the first one to optimize yourself properly, you will be the person that shows for at least a week or 2 or a month until your competitors in your market figure it out. You are reaping the rewards of showing and getting those cases, right? And only takes being number 1 for a week to get some kind of great case. It's just always making sure that you are paying attention here. So this one in particular talks about your hours of operation. What Google started to do towards the end of last year is even if you have the best build out for your Google business profile, you are killing it and you rank number 1 near your office in the local 3-pack and all over the area, right? Miles and miles away from your office. If you have a 9 to 5 submitted as your hours on your Google business profile, and someone searches at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m., you are closed. Google is going to no longer show you in that 3-pack, and instead they're going to show the firms that they're open at that time. So there is a way to put yourself as 24 hours. You want to have that on your Google business profile, but you do not want to call yourself 24 hours unless you actually have an answering service or someone who will pick up the phone if someone calls your office at 7 or 9 or 10 after hours, right? So here your action item is, okay, it's important that I have 24 hours. If I don't have an intake team or I don't have a setup right now for an after-hour answering service, I need to do that because the amount you're going to spend on that is absolutely worth being able to get the cases of people who are searching after work, right? A lot of people are not searching during work hours. They might be doing it on a weekend, and you don't want to miss those opportunities. So did we see this coming? Sort of. Google starts to have little fields and filters that you can put in place on your searches. So what we started to see here is that hours was a filter that when you search, you could say, I want someone open right now. I want someone open anytime. I want someone open on these days. And then Google basically takes that data of the searchers. And if everyone or a lot of people were overwhelmingly saying, I want someone open now after hours, Google takes that data, and that's how we have these algorithm updates, right? These updates that happen twice a year, 3 times a year, they're directly related to data that Google's collecting at all times to make their search engine journey better for their consumers. They're a business. They're just trying to make sure that they're constantly keeping their consumers happy. So when you start to see things like this on the front end as a searcher, just looking for restaurants or whatever you're looking for, start to think this way, right? Like, oh, this might be data that Google's collecting. Maybe I need to make sure that I have my T's crossed, my I's dotted to make sure we're all good, right? So then the next thing that we see coming similarly is very interesting and important because it's another one of these filters, and it's been showing for a little bit here. Not, this is not super, has been up for a long time, but you're starting to see that Google's able to ask the searcher if they want someone that is the best match for their search or if they are the closest person. So if you guys have done SEO, if you've listened to any presentations in the past, you know that we have been yelling proximity, proximity, proximity. I even said earlier, when you search for a product or a service in Google, and you search without a city name, because whoever types in a city name, if it's in your own city, you're just looking for a plumber. You're not going to say, I need the Fredericksburg plumber, right? But when you do that, Google shows you automatically the 3 people who are closest to you. What have we found? That in the past year and a half, as Google has made it very clear that they wanted to show the closest person for convenience, we sometimes see that it's a lawyer that has 2 reviews, right? They're 2 blocks from me, so they're going to show up, but they're terrible. I don't even know if they have a website. Their website might be 1 page, and it's really frustrating for the firms that are sitting on this right now, taking time out of their day to learn about digital, prioritizing this in their business, and they're being beat out by somebody that has 1 review and no website, right? So what we see here, though, that's maybe hopeful, is that if there is a really tiny market and neighborhood and really the only options are those one-off reviews, they're not the best answer. If more and more people are saying to Google, I want the best answer, not maybe the one that's closest to me because it's not a great answer, we might find that in our future algorithm updates that we're going to start showing the firms that have a better domain authority, that have a better built out Google business profile, even if they are a few more miles away, right? And now this is not to say that people who are nearby that are a good answer are going to get kicked out for the downtown guy who spends millions of dollars and that he's going to dominate everywhere again. There's a happy medium because the reason Google came up with the proximity was to actually get rid of that monopoly. They didn't want downtown Houston guy who spends $1 million showing for everything, right? But I do think that in the future we see in these smaller markets, if there's not a good answer, then it will be the best person that's the next distance away that shows. So keep that in mind, that it's really important to continue to build out your presence, right? Even if you're not the nearest person, we might find that if there's tiny little towns around you that don't have those great answers, that you could potentially gain that visibility again in the future. So other little quick fields that you can build in on your Google business profile: products. Products are somewhere where you can actually tell Google what you do. So those we were calling practice areas for a long time for law firms. But we quickly saw that Google said we no longer want service industries to be using products because they came out with a new perfect field for you guys to use for your practice areas, which is services, right? So now that we have this section called services, you want to put your practice areas there. I suggest that as long as you can put products, you should still keep them there because the more you teach Google, the better. But as they move, just keep in mind that they're going to move away from it eventually. So with services, with an AI feel, Google's basically going to suggest what services you do based on the primary category that you choose. So these primary categories you may have chosen, you're a criminal lawyer or a business lawyer, right? If you do IP, tax, and litigation like Seth, Or you might choose personal injury if you're like Tim and you have a PI firm or whatever it may be, right? But basically, Google then shows you, here are all the things we think you do. And it was you had to choose only these select items. It was like a drop down. You couldn't type in whatever you wanted, right? Very recently, though, this new button that says add custom service exists. And I've been talking about this in presentations for a few months now, so it's been around since I want to say the beginning of this year. But again, when something new comes out, we need to jump to be the first people to utilize it, right? So we've done test and measure case studies, and we're finding that in some markets, in the smaller markets, these custom services are definitely making a difference. If you're in bigger, more competitive markets, it's harder because a lot of the firms are paying attention and they are adding custom services themselves. But what does this mean? So when you click add custom service, you can type in whatever practice area you want. So now if you are in Texas and they don't have work comp, they have non-subscriber, you can put that in. If there are specific types of injury cases you handle, like birth injury, right? Or misdiagnosis, cancer misdiagnosis, heart attack issues, you can type in whatever keywords you think a consumer would type in. And we have found, at least at the beginning, and this is going to change probably, that Google is allowing exact match to this custom service you're creating. So that in this example you see here with Price Benowitz, we had put in emergency room errors, right, as a custom service. And then if we look up emergency room errors lawyer, Google will show them in the top of the search result, right, because other people haven't put that keyword in. And then it also here on the front end is trying to help with conversion by telling the searcher, hey, you look for emergency room errors, and this firm provides exactly that, right? So really important that when there are new things, we're trying to go with it. And the other thing is a lot of times you're going to see that on these fields, Google's going to suggest, AI suggest what you should just click and add to your site, to your page. That's not necessarily the best, most strategic items you should add. So keep in mind, filling it in is better than nothing. But to do things properly, you want to put a little thought into it, and you don't just want to click everything that the Google bot is giving to you on the back end of these Google practice areas. These custom services are helping for people who do more than just one practice area. So your services, you can put family, you can put criminal, you can do everything you need here. And so even if there are criminal justice attorney as a primary category, you're finding that Google will exact match and again, show for conversion sake. Hey, look, these people are criminal justice attorneys in this location of Elizabeth City, North Carolina, but it is making sure I know that they also provide family law help, right? So custom service is great. And one last piece here, these tracking numbers in Google Business Profile had come in maybe a year and a half ago, so that you didn't have to use CallRail or you didn't have to use your own call tracking mechanism. You could actually do it in the Google Business Profile platform. It was so nice. You could get the tracking right there, but then they realized there was a lot of data they had to work with. They were only showing 3 months back or 6 months back. They weren't showing all of your historical data. And so Google realized, you know, some fields are good for me, some fields I don't really need to do to learn about people. And so they actually got rid of the GBP call history. It's no longer available. And you want to keep an eye on that, because if you were tracking your calls by location, right, you no longer can do that. You need to actually get a call rail number up on every one of your office locations. And so for firms out there, if you do have multiple office locations, what's the benefit of this? If you can honestly know that 45 of your calls came from DC, 75 came from Leesburg, and 12 came from Bethesda, and you see for a trend of 6 months, Bethesda's just not getting call volume, it's a way for you to go diagnose the problem. Am I not ranking enough there? Is there more opportunity to have better keywords? Is that market just not a market that uses Google? And so now when I want to get a 4th office location, I can use my data here to see how many calls I'm getting, how many cases I'm signing, what's the demographic of that market for my 4th office location. I want to use all this data to make an informed decision about what kind of new market I need to go into, right? So important that all of your Google business profiles have a tracking number so that you can actually truly in your, whether it's lead docket or you're using Salesforce or whatever CRM you're using, you're able to attribute exactly where that call originated, in what market that signed or that was wanted. I don't know if we have questions here. I know I've got a little bit more time, so I'm going to go through this as kind of a bonus piece. There's this new Google page one that some of you may have seen already as you search. This Google page one that's brand new and quite different look, called the Search Generative Experience, SGE, is highly influenced by AI, right? So all of the ways that they're finding the answers now is by crawling a lot of information, and then they're providing the information in a way that the consumer can easily get the answer they want, but it also kind of is like Google page one on crack, because it is essentially giving you a rabbit hole of information. You can click these little drop down buttons and you can get further into questions you should have asked or answers that are related to this, and just giving you all sorts of information you didn't even know you needed about that topic. But this is really important because it was supposed to come out last year, May, and then it was supposed to come out this January. And now we're seeing that it's sometime this year, but when it hits, it's going to be important. We've spent the last 6 to 8 months to year kind of preparing ourselves, making sure that the ways that the new page one operates is still in line with the way that you're optimizing your site. And so how do I even see this? There's search labs, right, where you're able to go turn this on and you're able to use the new page one look and feel right now. And that's how they get their data. That's how they collect what makes sense. And then they perfect it, or they get to a level they believe is good enough to release this new page one. So here's what it looks like right now. You always see your LSAs at the top. Usually there's some old PPC sponsored ads here. Then you have your local 3-pack, and then you have your organic results below it. Here's what it's gonna look like. Looks completely different. But you're still gonna have ads at the top. You're going to have this interesting little carousel of websites. So this carousel are more organic results. They're pages on people's sites that answer questions. You have this little blurb. Almost every search that's a question based is going to have an AI generated answer that comes from one or maybe more websites. And then you've got these little drop downs that I was talking about, where you're going to click it and it's going to show you more options that you can kind of go through, and then more organic results. So you're probably saying, well, where's the 3-pack? You know, what's going on here? This looks like a lot of content heavy organic type results. And it's true. It's going to become very important that you start to give very specific answers, quick FAQ style information on your website, right? Things that answer questions and make it clear to Google that they can take that snippet and make it their AI generated answer so that you can get that visibility. This was where I was talking about, if you go into your Google app and you click on that little beaker, you're able to try an example, turn on SGE to play with it and kind of see how it works. But I've honestly actually seen a couple of people see this new look and feel on mobile just regularly as they're searching. So I don't know if I would love to crowdsource that. Does anybody else have it showing for when they're looking on mobile now that they see this new look and feel yet? I do believe they've rolled it out to some people, so it'd be interesting to know what other areas of the country are getting it, or if it's people who leave lots of reviews and they're the ones that are first wave getting to try it out. If you want to just say yes in the chat or something to let me know, that would be helpful. But here's what it looks like in terms of what the future is. So when you ask how to and what is questions, real questions asking for a real answer, you're going to notice that you're going to get exactly what I said, your AI generated answer. And then when you click this drop down, this is what I was talking about. You're going to actually be able to scroll, and they're going to have a bunch of different options, right, for you to click into pages. So those are not going to be your Google business profile listing. That's going to be organic results. And you can see like the first one that shows is garment injury. Then you got these other firms for the question that I asked here. I was in a car accident. Do I need a lawyer? right? So as people speak into their phones more and do things like that, that's what that looks like. Now, when you want to ask a question for a service, though, where you're just asking for pizza or a lawyer, not asking a question, this is where you're going to see the local 3-pack still be in play. So currently, this is what it looks like, right? This is what it's going to look like, where you do have a little blurb at the top still, and then it gives you a couple of answers. And then you scroll down a little bit more and you get to the map. So the map is not the top, it's the actual GBP listings for a couple of them, and then it's your map view for you to click into that. But these listings here are Google Business Profiles. So you're still seeing listings that are local listings. It's just not that the map is at the top where you can kind of look at where they are next to you. So services, you're still going to have an opportunity, and the local 3-pack is still a thing. And then what's really cool here with when you're looking for a specific service on the desktop version, you are seeing this is what the local 3-pack will look like now. It's almost a 5-pack. You have a map, right? You can tell it looks a little bit different. It gives you information on the site that you can click these carrots. But what's really cool is I highlight over here on the top right. So we always say that these organic results are below the 3-pack right now, and then it's hard to get conversions off of having really good content and really good answers to questions. But Google has taken your organic top 3 pages that answer questions, and they put it visually at the top right-hand corner. So now your organic is getting visibility as well. And as we know, those are usually the people who have highest domain ratings, who are really putting effort into building out their backlinks and building out their content and doing content consistently. All that we see here for sure is that organic content is going to be so important. It's already important. Content is king. We hear it all the time, but the way that you write your content and making sure that it actually answers questions, that it truly answers questions quickly, it gets to the point, is how you're going to win visibility on this new page 1, right? So if you've been doing it right all along, it's good. The only thing that maybe you'd want to look at is making sure that you have those FAQ style questions and answers on bullet points, things like that on your pages. And I also always say content is extremely important. Content in terms of video. So content is not just words, it's video too. The more you're creating those quick FAQ style videos, the 2-minute, 30-second blurbs, this is not on here yet. This is just me being me and putting out broad, bold predictions, but YouTube's owned by Google. And as they want to have this more SGE experience and quick answers, it would make sense to me that at some point there's going to be an area that gives you videos as an answer, so that lazy people, lazy consumers as we're becoming, can see the answer, click a play button, get the answer from a 20-30-second video, right? So creating those videos might be really helpful. And I know that some people don't want to set aside the time, but you can truly, doesn't have to be super high quality. It can be in your office and you can record 5, 10 in one fell swoop, set aside an hour or so to record. And those can go a long way if you put the videos that are talking about FAQs about specific practice areas on your practice area pages. They become an opportunity as an answer for the searcher. So that's kind of thinking ahead, being ahead of the curve, but in no world do I see creating videos and spending that resource and time on it now. I'm not telling you to go buy like expensive videos, right? I'm telling you to go record some and just give the answers, the content that people need. I can't see that hurting you in the future. I can only see that helping you. So from this perspective, technical still needs to be technical. You still need to make sure the bot can read the back end of the site. Content's the most important that we're talking about. Link building is still going to be very important because Google still is going to want to know who has the most endorsements, who has the most trustworthy factor in your domain rating, that big score overall, in order to know which 3 they should highlight at the top right-hand side of your result page, right? They still need to know who has the best authoritative site. So that's where link building comes in. And then obviously there still are going to be local 3-packs, local 5-packs, with where you're going to be able to see reviews and engage with the business's profile. It's just going to be for those very specific, not asking questions, right? If you're looking for a service. So all things very important. And then because content is so important, I'm gonna just spend 2 to 3 minutes here with a couple of examples and suggestions for programs to use when thinking about how you're writing your content. Content, as I just said, is so important to get it right. Google is still not a fan of AI written content. ChatGPT, write me 500 words for 17 pages and let me copy and paste that into my website. Don't do it. I think I've said it enough. I think people have gotten to the point where they understand that's not how you should be treating your website, that it's not going to help you. But this just kind of shows you in the Google guidelines, they updated their language from saying helpful content created for people in search results to actually saying helpful content written by people, for people. They made it clear that they want the content written by people, not AI, right? It is extremely important that we stick to this for now until we can start to use AI produced content. We've spent over a year, created a whole department dedicated to AI at BluShark, and we're testing every single thing under the sun that you can. We're building our own ChatGPT bots. The level of the the prompts that we're using are very high, but we are not going to put that on websites until we know it won't harm you. And it's still right now, we're nervous about that. We've seen other sites get hit by it. I mean, I'll be the first person to tell you when it's possible and when we're able to streamline content production. But for right now, you really want to, because Google can tell what's human versus what's AI produced. They have programs that test this. You can put it through programs to see, is the content that's being written by your company or by your Upworks person or whoever's generating content for your site, to make sure that it does not have a high score of AI content. And if this can be done by a program, obviously the Google bot can figure it out. Now, I'm not saying that you can't use AI content at all, or AI and ChatGPT to help you in any possible way. I think that there is certain ways that you can use AI in a productive manner. We've tested some of this, like creating topic lists. So sometimes you may want to build out more content or these FAQ style questions for car accidents. And so, yes, you can ask ChatGPT, what are the most popular searches around car accidents, and kind of learn what the search volume is for things and create those lists of content to write. You can use it for editing for grammar. It's pretty good at that. And then if you want to create a car accident page in a new location that you're trying to target, remember that you can't have more than 3% of the content be the same. So you can't copy and paste and just put a new city name into that page. But what you can do is you can try to have, as a first step, have a ChatGPT rewrite a 500, 800 word paper into a new paper with a new tone perspective. And then that way it changes it a little bit, right? And then you as the human can go in and check it. So some really cool ways that you can still use AI. I would just say be cautious for right now on that end of things for putting it on your site. And then this is where I was telling you, video is extremely important to me. I think if you can and you have the bandwidth to do it, it won't hurt you in the future. And here are a couple of programs that they're paid, so you'd have to get an account, but these are all decently priced, like very easy to do in-house if you have an in-house marketing team. These are 3 different programs that I like to use for streamlining the use of video in your digital. And so Pictory is something that will help you kind of auto caption. It also will take a script, so you could write a page of content, or you have a page of content written already, and it will actually turn those into summary videos. It is quite amazing. It's a real video. It has good quality graphics and transitions, but it auto transcribes so that you can leverage the money you're spending on creating content to turn it into videos. The other way around, you can also use programs to take videos that you have created and then transcribe it to content, right? So if you spent that hour on a Friday recording a bunch of different videos, then you can have a Descript. That program can go through and create content for it. So you can put the page up with the content, you can add the video there so that there's both ways for people to actually engage with the content. And then Opus Clips is kind of cool because it will take your longer videos. If you just kind of throw the kitchen sink out there about, your practice area, it'll turn it into shorter clips and will actually pick up on the right types of engaging content. And you can have it like kind of give descriptions and captions and things like that, but you can also leverage those shorter videos on your practice area pages. Or you could take those shorter videos and you can put them on your stories and on your social media, which are for the quick grab of attention, right? You could use them as boosted posts. And so my biggest overall idea here is if you're going to spend time doing anything, try to leverage it in as many ways as possible. Figure out how you can turn a video into content as well, content into a video, videos into more videos that can help you on social. Just streamline, right? Work smart, not hard, is my biggest piece of advice. If you're going to be working on your website, a lot of people have constantly come to me and said, you know, maybe my digital is fine. I am absolutely showing, and Francis, we can go back to this one if I know which program you were talking about, but Pictory is one, Opus Clips is one, and Descript is one, and all three of the ones that I just described are here with links so that you can actually go in and see all the things that they do. But as I was mentioning here, a lot of firms will say to me, you know, I'm showing, got the rankings, but for whatever reason, I've got like crazy bounce. People are coming to my site, they're not converting. And so there are a lot of times where we just need to take a look at where the contact forms are and what kind of photos we're using. And are we engaging from a, not just desktop, but on mobile as well. And this is one of those things where people were like, I just don't have the time to get my whole team together to go do a whole photo shoot. It's expensive. And you know, I don't even like the way pictures look of me, and the office doesn't look that great. I'm not gonna, it's too much time, it's too much money, it's ridiculous. But those are the types of things that do make sites look more inviting, right? Having personalized photos, having high quality photos. The cool thing is with AI programs like this one in particular called Midjourney, you can design any image you can think of. So you can put prompts in there of what you want. You can see the prompt here is listed out for the image we got on the right-hand side. You can create whatever kind of people you want in there, demographics, location. These are high-end images that you can slap onto a site that will then make your site look more compelling, right? You can create these blocks and you can create these sections of your site, but without compelling photos, a site is just a structure. It is just kind of a template. So I would encourage people to, if they're having conversion issues, to look at programs like this if you don't have the time to go and create a whole entire expensive process of getting individual photos. But keep in mind that it is a program. And again, my biggest piece of advice, I think that throughout everything AI that you're going to do, is know that it's AI, know that it's a bot, and always have a human layer that's going to check everything before it goes on to the next step. Don't automate too heavily to where you're like, okay, AI did it, triggers this next step, goes directly on the site. This is an example of kind of looking for a prompt and maybe not the best photos that you'd want to use on your site. So keep in mind, you should always check AI. This was the example of it looking nice with cartoon Van Gogh pop art. And then this was the example of maybe we wouldn't want to use these photos, right? So just keep in mind to always check everything that you possibly can.